Okay, so my name is Justine and I'm the software specialist here at McIntyre Dick. My role is relatively new to the company, whereby I'm here solely to assist you guys in helping using your financial software to the best for your business. Just to let you know that the session is being recorded today. If you would like a recording, please let me know and that can be sent through to you. All attendees on the webinar are muted, but please feel free, if you'd like to ask a question, please feel free to use the chat box at the bottom of your screen. And that dropped out. Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry, a couple of technical issues here. Okie dokie, so we'll go over and have a look at Figured. So the first thing I always check when I log into Figured is to ensure that we're looking at our latest data that's come through from Xero. Figured updates from Xero a couple of times a day, but if you've just finished your coding in Xero, you need to ensure that Figured is also up to date. In your navigation bar, which may appear on your left-hand side of screen, and mine has disappeared, that's helpful, isn't it? We can see a connection to Xero box. So it'll show a green tick that you're connected to Xero, but you can sync this at any time to Xero and Figured, so to make sure you're looking at the latest data. The next check I make before I start doing anything is to check the top blue toolbar at the top to see what year I'm sitting on, whether I'm looking at my actuals plus forecast or just my forecast, and what month my data is up to. I know I've coded all my data in Xero to the end of May, so I'm looking here for my actuals to the end of May. Sorry, one of the
Justine, sorry to budge in, but so are we looking at just a green screen currently?
No, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be.
Well, I am. Is it anybody else?
Okay, thank you. I will just.
Yep, me too.
Yep.
Thank you, that's better.
Can you see?
Oh, Wicker Rangers.
Okay,
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Sorry about that. As I say, I'm having working from home, I'm experiencing a few technical issues. So, one of our first checks we're going to make is to look at our trackers. If I click into our trackers here, I'm going to look at our milk tracker first. If you have a milk tracker, you'll want to ensure that your production is showing in your tracker. This is so when we do production reports, we're looking at the latest production that you've produced on farm. If you are connected, if you supply Fonterra, we have hopefully connected your milk tracker to Farm Source. This can be done, it needs to be done through Figured and also through your login to Farm Source. If it's not connected, let me know and we can help you set that up. Remember, if you are entering your production numbers into here, at any point, once you've done that, you need to save changes on the top right-hand side of screen. Have you seen these new metrics that Figured have now released? You can fill out your milking platform hectare area, your peak number of cows. Then we just get a snapshot of some insights into your production. If we go back to our trackers, now let's look at a livestock tracker. I'm going to select my dairy cattle tracker. And I can see I have my number of livestock here on farm and any movements that have happened in or out. If figure doesn't reconcile with 0, it will show us some alerts, some wee alerts in each of the box where something may have happened in 0, but we haven't corresponded a transaction in Figured. Figured have recently updated this. So much quicker and easier to get your stock reconciliation up to date. If I had an alert showing in my purchase of mixed age cows here, I had a wee alert that was showing, I could click in this white box and I could scroll to the bottom of the screen. Here I can see I've selected mixed age cows purchase and it's telling me my purchases reconcile. If there is a button here on the right hand side that says import from 0, I can simply click this button to see what transactions have been added in 0 that may not appear in Figured. In that case, all I would need to do is down the bottom of my screen here is to update the quantity, the dollar amount, whether I'm showing that as a per head or as a total figure, and select the green button to save it in Figured. I can keep doing this for any transactions I may be missing until my alerts disappear. Now, this is when it is important, when we are in 0, that we are putting our number and class of livestock in our description field in our reconcile screen. If I go back to Figured, and if I look at a transaction,
0.
If this was a livestock transaction, I would be putting in my description field or my what field in my reconcile screen, the number, the quantity of livestock purchased or sold in the livestock class. It's this field, the description field from 0, that comes through into our Figured tracker where we can see the number, the quantity. This is where we can update it from directly through in Figured. If I select this class here and scroll down, we can see here that this is where I've had my notes. So this notes box here on the right hand side, this is reading from that description or the what in 0. This is where it's pulling through from. So as you can see, I've got 2 transactions here that make up R1 steers purchase. Okay, we've just had a question with meat processor reward payments. You can't put a 0 sales in Figured if it's coded to a livestock class. You actually can now. You never used to be able to in Figured, but you actually can. You can select from add a transaction to add an actual transaction. If it's money in, if it's money for a loyalty or reward payment, you would select a sale transaction. And you can actually now have a 0 quantity of stock with a dollar value. Figured is now letting us do this. You are correct, we never used to be able to do that in Figured, but they have now updated this for us. And it is a common problem we come across. Yes, it does also reconcile to 0 because you have coded that payment to that livestock class. So there would be an alert would show in our livestock tracker to say that we've had something coded to that livestock in 0. So there's an alert showing, and then we could pull that through as a 0 quantity. As long as our dollar value between 0 matches with Figured, it will reconcile. Let's take a look at our planning grid. I always encourage people to look at their planning grid. Once they've finished their coding, they've updated their trackers with the latest information. Here we can see, so obviously our tracker information comes in at the very top here under our tracker headings. So this is where our financial information is pulling from the trackers back in our operations. Everything else in our planning grid here comes through from Xero, directly from where we've coded it in Xero. Where we see a blue number, we can click on that blue number and it will take us to Xero and show us what makes up that particular number for that month. And if need be, we can drill down into that in Xero and edit and change that if it's in the wrong place. So as we can see, I've got rebate income. This is where my number is coming from. I could look at that transaction by selecting it and clicking on it and having a look at that transaction to see what that was. That's a really handy tip, and I use it myself all the time if I'm unsure what a number in my planning grid represents. Sometimes you may find in your other income, some income here that relates to a tracker. This means that the income is sitting in other income because that we haven't related that particular code to your tracker. We can assign that code to show under your tracker financial information if that's where you would like it to show. If it's for a livestock class that we are tracking and it hasn't shown up the top here under our sales or our purchase for our livestock, we've potentially coded that to the wrong code in Xero. So again, we could click on our blue number and we could recode it in Xero. So then it appears correctly up here. Once we're happy with our numbers, we can start thinking about planning or forecasting for next season. The easiest way to start your forecast for next season is by using your actual data from this previous season as a basis. Let's go back to our trackers. With regards to your milk production, you will actually need to manually key in your projected production for next season. If I click into my milk shed, and if I change my year at the top here to 2023, this is where I would now build out my milk production for the next season. I'd put my kilograms of milk solids down here, and under the your milk price column, this is what I am budgeting my milk income to be. I may be budgeting on a slightly lower payout figure than what my milk company is suggesting, which is coming through in the company milk price, which is updated automatically behind the scenes in your tracker settings. If you are using fixed milk price, if you have chosen that option, if your supplier has that, Figure is working on a new milk tracker where we can have our fixed milk price showing as coming through. Currently, this is not, we can't do this in Figured. For our livestock trackers, I could start building out my budget for next season. What I can do is I can use the tools within the tracker. The tools here, I can export. I could export my 2022 actual transactions. I could email myself a copy of this if I wanted to and download it. This downloads it locally to my computer. Then I could go across to my 2023 year and I could import. I could say I'm importing to the 23 year. I want to import these as forecast transactions, adjust the imported dates, and I could choose my file. So this is where it's just downloaded to my computer. So I've just gone to select that and I can import. So that's now going to import all my actual transactions from last year for my livestock as a basis for my forecast for next season. Once that's done, and hopefully that won't be too much longer, we can then go and make changes if we need to. And it never happens quickly when we want it to. Okay, I could select I'm sitting on my 2023 year, and I could select the monthly from the top here of my tracker. I could come down, I could click into my mixed age cows purchase white box here, scroll to the bottom of the page, and here by month, because I've selected monthly at the top here, I can come down here by month and I can put in my projections for my forecast and start building out that way. So that's another quick way to start building your budget for your livestock for next season. The same for sales, purchases and sales. We can select and then go to the bottom of the screen and add in the numbers we require. For all other income and expenses that don't come from our trackers, what we can do is in our planning grid, again, we can use our tools. We can export our 2022 transactions on a cash basis, and I can download that. That's going to download again to my computer. You can see it's down on the right here. Then I can go back to my tools and import, and I'm going to import from last year's actuals, or I could import from a snapshot I may have created or from a file. And then I could just select that file and again, import. Again, this is a quick way I can get some numbers into my planning grid for my forecast for next season. Then I can start fiddling with the numbers if I want to, or making changes. Remember, where you see a white box on the planning grid, we can click into the box and we can enter a number. Don't forget figures quick entering down the bottom here. We can copy across, we can use a standard amount per month and copy across that per month. We could spread it as per our curve from last season to how we spent throughout each month. We can spread it across the months by that, or we can adjust by a percentage each month as well. Just a quick way to try and get to start building out your forecast for the next season. Once you're happy with this, we could take a snapshot. Remembering taking a snapshot, we're taking a photo of what our planning grid looks like. When we take that snapshot, we have the option to tick that as being our annual plan and using that as our annual plan going forward. Remember, if you have taken a variety of snapshots, we find them from our left-hand navigation bar here on the left-hand side under snapshots, and we can see where we've taken some snapshots. Now let's go over some reporting. You may have noticed that Figured have now recently released report packs. These are great if you're running regular reports, especially if you are needing to report to your rural manager or farm advisor. By setting up specific report packs, it's a much quicker process each month to run our reports. Just a handy wee tip for a new figured release. Remember, when you are running reports, let's select the cash flow. Always check the additional options in our top toolbar. We could show quantities, like we used to maybe in Cash Manager Rural, or we could compare to a budget that we have set. And that will show us our 2-line report we may be used to if we used to use Cash Manager, where it shows us our budget line and then our actual line. Just remember to always check the additional options on each report. Have a play around with the various options to see what works best for you and your operation, as every operation is different and people want to report against different scenarios. Remember, if you need help at any time, please reach out to us, or if you would like further one-on-one training, to just let us know. I do run a help desk here at McIntyre Dick by phone or by email. You can either email me directly if you have my email address, or you could email software@mdp.co.nz, or give us a call on 03 211 0801. There is unfortunately only one of me at the moment. I may not get back to you straight away, but I will return your call. Also, Figured have a great help on their website. You may hear people talk about the green bubble. The bottom right-hand corner of my screen here, I have the piece of paper in the green bubble. This is Figured's help. And yes, look, I use this myself. I contact Figured in this way myself. They are very responsive and come back with some great solutions. Also, our help button on the bottom left-hand here from our navigation bar to the help centre, where there's some great articles here that we can read and go through with some easy to follow instructions. Now, I don't see that we have any other questions, so what we'll do is we'll wrap it up and we'll leave it there. But if you require any further information or need help at any time, please reach out. I am constantly in contact with Figured. I had a research and development meeting with them yesterday, so I am in constant contact with them, trying to make this software the best for everybody. I've just had a question in terms of end of year accounts. To what extent can we now rely on what is sitting in Figured and Xero instead of generating summaries? Figured, of course, reads from Xero. If all of your information in Xero is coded and you are confident it is coded correctly, that is the way it will report through in Figured. Like I said, remember to go into your planning grid, check each month to make sure everything is sitting in the correct area it needs to. Then you should be able to rely on the data. We rely on your data being accurate, and this is where we get your information from. Okay, thank you everybody and have a great day, and please stay warm.
Thanks, Justine. Bye.
Thank you.